Hello there, it's time to put on your headphones for another Step Outside podcast. Today we're chatting to one of the best chefs in the South Pacific. Dayne Tanabi started cooking at an early age, preparing food for his ahana or attending culinary school on the Isle of Oahu. Preparing meals for the rich and famous is a daily ritual for Chef Dayne, but to him it's more than that. It's a passion that has turned into a dream for this connoisseur of flavours as he heats up the kitchens at the wonderful Hilton Waikoloa Village. Sit back and enjoy the tales from Chef Dayne, or more commonly known between his friends as Chef Buddha. Aloha, as we come to you with another podcast with Step Outside with Paul Burt. We are coming to you once again from the beautiful, favourite place of ours to visit, the Big Island, on beautiful, the Hilton Waikoloa Village. And I'm joined today by our very special guest, Chef Dayne.
Aloha, welcome.
Aloha, how are you, bud?
Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, my friend. You've been cooking on our show. Now we're going to podcast you on our show because You're a man of many talent, a man of many stories. Tell us about Chef Dayne. Tell me about you, Dayne.
Well, for me, I've been here at the Hilton Waikoloa Village this August. Actually, on the 24th of August will be my 16-year anniversary. So it's been a long time. I'm originally from Oahu, but my mom was born in Kau, down south on this island. So I have a lot of family on the Hilo side, on the east side. So I used to always come here during the summers and spend time with my cousins and stuff like that. And I used to always tell myself I would never live here because, you know, Hilo side always rains. There's nothing to do. You always need a car to go places, to go to sports things and do things. There's really nothing really to do compared to Oahu. So I told myself I'd never live here. And, you know, when the job came up, you know, I thought about my career, you know, and I talked to my parents at the time and they said, you know, you can always go, you can always come back if it doesn't work out, you know, and 16 years later, I'm still here.
You're still here.
You know, so.
And you're working up the chain?
Working up the chain, yeah. You know, just keep grinding and keep pushing, you know, developing my craft as I go, you know, and just meeting new people every day, you know.
You know, one thing that amazes me is the amount of talent that you guys perspire. When you're over here, it's hot, it's humid, and you're oozing talent, right? We are talking about some of the world's best chefs. We've done a lot of culinary delights back home in Australia and around the place as well. But you guys just had that little bit more flair, you know, and I see our Aussie guys, you know, we're a pretty laid back bunch back home, and I am laid back myself. You know, I like to slap things together, but you guys put that little bit more love into your dishes. Is that because of the lifestyle here, the fresh food that's always available, or is it just the flair that you guys naturally have?
I mean, our island alone, you know, supplies us with the utmost bounty of, you know, seafood, you know, beef we have meat, we have vegetables, we have everything on these islands that we have in Hawaii. I think for us, one of our benefits is basically just the culture. Yeah. We're basically the melting pot of the Pacific, right? We have so many different cultures, not only Polynesian, not only Asian, but Europeans and stuff like that. So, I mean, it could be Philippines, Japanese, Korean, Hawaiians, Portuguese, you know, Spanish. So we have all those cultures here on the island, right, that we all grown up with. So I think that's what also plays into our cuisine, where it's more of like a Pacific Rim or a Hawaii fusional cuisine, that we can fuse flavors, right, easily for us and make it taste delicious for everybody else.
Mate, you mentioned about the bountiful amount of food that you have,
right.
And I want to talk about seafood, because I know you love fishing and all that sort of stuff as well, is that there's so much variety. Similar fillets can be found around the world, as in texture. So if you're talking about your opa here, maybe you're talking about you know, different compartments or anything like that that you get. I guess for people wanting to learn dishes, they could use a similar fish back in their neck of the woods, right. You know, rather than thinking, hang on, you've got all the love, you've got all the food there in Hawaii, but reality is we can't cook it, but they can, can't they?
They can. You know, snapper is widely available. Mahi-mahi is also widely available as well.
So too is tuna.
So yeah, tuna for sure. But you know, we always like to say that the Pacific tuna is always the best.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, so if you ever see fresh tuna on the Atlantic side, I mean, I hope they're flying it in fresh.
Yeah.
Because they ain't catching it. But yeah, so I think like for us, we're super privileged and you know, spoiled to the point where, you know, we have all this in our backyard, you know, that we can get every day fresh for us. And
do you take it for granted ever?
No, never. When we go fish and stuff, we never try to overfish and try to take, like, we go and fish for halaloo at the harbor sometimes, right? And when it's running, right? And there's a lot of people, but sometimes we get lucky early. So there was one time when there was just 4 of our friends that was there, and then another guy was there, and he was just trying to whip. And I'm like, what is he doing? And then the guy goes, oh, I'm fishing for halaloo, it's coming in. I was like, really? So I tell my other friend.
What's a halaloo?
So it's like a little skip, like a little jack,
okay.
like a mackerel almost.
Yeah.
So basically I tell my other friend, I'm like, hey, he's fishing for halaloo. He goes, oh, really? So he goes, oh, set up your rig. So I set it up. Then I'm over there, he goes, oh, just throw it on, just reel it in slower and stuff, right? So I start doing it.
Yeah.
I hit 25, then my other friend hits 25,
yeah.
and then my other friend hits 25, and then my other friend hits 25, right? So by the end of the day, we all got 100 total, right?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, like these guys that go every day over there to the harbor, I mean, they're bringing like over 100, right? They sell it by the Ziplocs, and the schools always come in.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, I mean, we take what we need, you know, never overfish. And for me, that was like my second time. I never really caught that much, and I just was like on a roll. I was like, wow.
I guess when because the ohana here, if anyone is listening, whether you're at a gym, riding a bike, or driving a car, whatever you're doing, listening to the podcast, is that your ohana means family.
Right.
Okay, so if you're catching 25 fish, and I know how a lot of this works, as soon as you catch fresh fish, you got lots more ohana than you ever knew that come out of the woodwork wanting a bit of your fish, right?
Well, I mean, the ones that know, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But then eventually,
word spreads.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we only cook it, we eat it. I don't sell fish and stuff like that. I mean, I don't catch enough to sell it anyway.
I don't think you had time.
Yeah, I don't have time to do that too. I mean, I gotta go, but I just take it for our family, and then we cook it at home for dinner and stuff like that. And then clean it, freeze it, and then we use it for a later date. So
and that's a good thing because it becomes back to sustainability.
Right.
Knowing that the next time you go to the harbour, you're going to get some fish.
Yeah.
Rather than just bagging out, taking hundreds and hundreds of fish. We try and urge people not to do that.
Yeah.
Take what you need. Mate, what about vegetables? Do you grow your own vegetables? Do you, as a chef, what do you cook up when you get home? Do you have baked beans on toast?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. Do you have bacon and eggs?
I do once in a while when my nephew's over because he loves bacon.
Okay.
So I'm always doing bacon and eggs and like Portuguese sausage.
Yeah, that's nice.
Spam once in a while.
What is with spam in this country?
I don't know. It's
ham in a can.
It's basically from back in the war times, right? Where they used to have canned spams and everything was canned.
So we've got boxes of spam. In the Pearl Harbor region.
Yeah, it's probably like the cheapest thing back then, and they just cut it up, fry it. Some people even eat it raw, not me, but you fry it up crispy. I like it crispy, make spam musabis. So I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with spam.
That's everywhere. That's the beautiful Japanese sort of sushi rice wrapped up with that seaweed. And they look like a triangle. Yeah,
so you can do that, or they even have rectangle molds where you press the rice in. You can actually put like a little bit of egg, some furikake, which is some Japanese sprinkled seaweed on top.
Yeah.
And the spam on top of that, wrap it around. I mean, perfect for the beach, perfect to go fishing.
Yep.
Just for snacks and stuff. It's super, super popular here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You've answered the spam. I guess the thoughts of where and why and how come. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it developed. You go to the store, there's like at least 15 different varieties of spam nowadays.
Wow.
So it's super. It evolved for sure. But
we had a day out recently here on the Big Island. We went to Kona, and we planned this day out. For us, it's an excursion and then an adventure. And the adventure started at Costco. I mean, that's a pretty rad place when you go to Costco here on the Big Island. You got a lot of different people, and everyone is so happy. We do that back in Australia, but over here it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I mean, Costco is, that's pretty much our biggest supplier for food where you want to go and buy in bulk.
Yeah.
I go there. I hate going there because I spend a lot of money there.
That's it. I don't get it. That's the thing. You buy toilet paper and you've cut down 55 trees.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're good for like the whole month or even more.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I just, you gotta kind of go in with a strategy, even with a list.
Yep.
But even some of that doesn't work, because there's always things that catch your eye, or you walk down an aisle and you're like, oh, hey, they got this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to do when it comes to food preparation. It's usually cost a meal out, cost a menu out. Does that relate back to what you do at home as well? And if you are going into a shop to buy something, you think, right, this meal is going to work out. I'm going to work it out. It's $7.28 a portion.
I don't really cost it out like that. I kind of just think of it of cooking a good meal for my family and friends and stuff like that. So I don't financially go into it thinking like I need to keep this price down and this is too expensive. I mean, if they want it, I mean, I gotta cook it for them.
Good on
So,
you.
yeah.
And do you cook a lot?
I do actually cook a lot. My wife does cook a lot. She hasn't been cooking for a while, but she does like to cook Filipino food, which she does a good job at. But just the fact that, we only have usually, I'm only off on 2 days and she's usually off more, like 4 days.
Yep.
She does cook, but then I'm only off 2, so I usually work and I eat at work. I don't usually come home till like after 10, so I don't try to eat late and stuff like that. So she knows, and she kind of gets hurt that I don't really eat like the next day, like the leftovers. But at the end of the day, I come home late, and that's the reason. It's not just because I don't like it. I'll eat it later if it's still left, but by then she's probably eating it all.
You got kids?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Working on it?
I'm working
Okay.
hard.
Oh, you okay.
Yes.
All right. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Mate, tell me, when you go to a place and you have something to eat, do you grade that food? Are you that particular where you're thinking, man, this could do with some salt?
Okay, for me, I honestly think that I'm not super critical about things. I'm super simple when it comes to food. Like, I'll eat anything, and I enjoy everything. Sometimes there's things that I don't like, and I don't tell like the server, or I don't tell the chef, or I don't tell anybody. I might say it to my family or whoever's with me and just say, hey, this thing needs salt, or like, how'd you like it? And like, I didn't really like it, but I keep it to us. Like, I don't really broadcast it for everyone to know, so it's just I appreciate everything that's done when I go to restaurants and stuff like that, and I appreciate the simplicity of things like that, especially when we do barbecues or we do home cooking. And everybody, my family, they always tell me like they're intimidated to cook for me, right? Because I work here.
I get that, and I would be too.
No, I mean, like for that, like, I could care less. Like, you guys cook from your heart. I mean, that's all I ask for. I mean, there's nothing more. I don't expect you to plate it like a 5-star, 5-diamond restaurant and put it on a silver platter for me. I take it in a paper plate and a plastic fork. I'm good.
Yeah, as long as it tastes good. Though.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. I mean, for me,
it
doesn't matter. I mean, for like, if my family and friends are cooking, like, I appreciate everything that they do.
I've tasted your cooking before, and when you talk about simplicity, we're talking about we'll get back into the seafood. We'll talk about fish. Is that we are surrounded by water here? Is that the fish that you catch? If it's a beautiful salty fish, it's a fish caught from the ocean, not one farmed in fresh water that's quite bland, and you have to add things to it. Is you keep it simple, whether it's you're steaming it in some fish juice, or maybe you're putting a bit of ginger over it or anything like that. It's that simplicity, but of keeping the fish in its natural state. Rather than adding too many things of different tastes and flavors, and in the end, there you could be eating damn well chicken.
You could be.
Yeah.
It's kind of tricky sometimes, but for us, I mean, we get pretty much some of the best products, whether it be seafood and beef from around the world, compared to around the world, and it's just our job not to mess it up too much, and kind of keep it true to what it is. Enhance the flavors a little bit, but make sure that the feature or the specific thing that you're eating is what you're actually asking for. So.
Well, we had some steaks here at KPC's, the Kamawala Provision Company restaurant here at the Hilton Waikoloa, and I'll tell you, it's the steak cooking back home. People always ask the question: should you flip your steak more than once? Do you flip it and then flip it and then flip it and then pull it off? Do you eat it straight away? Give us the Chef Dayne, the Chef Burt exact way to cook a good steak.
So basically what we do is we keep ours at room temperature, just for about 30 minutes at least, just so that the inside of the center of the steak won't get nice and red and raw and cold. So we want to kind of thaw it out and bring it up to temperature like that. Season it heavily with salt and pepper, and then grill it. Basically, when you're grilling it, you want to leave it for, at least depends on how you're cooking it, right? What temperature you want it. You want to leave it for 4 to 5 minutes per side, just so that, and not even touch it once you put it on, just because that you want the nice grill marks, right? Because if you lift it up any sooner, it'll stick, right? And then you won't get nice grill marks and stuff. So you want to leave it, maybe flip it. You want to maybe flip it at the most 4 times if you're trying to do a diamond grill marks on there. And do an angle on it. And then you let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes before you cut it, just so that you can let the juices, redistribute back into the steak.
And you want that steak to be, that we're talking probably say a 14-ounce steak. So it's nice and thick cut. If it's too thin, clearly you don't want it.
It'll be faster, So, I mean, our steaks here, we do a 14-ounce New York, we do an 8-ounce center cut beef tenderloin, and we do also an 18-ounce bone-in dry aged prime ribeye steak.
Yeah, that's a good size.
So we have a bunch of steaks. Our steaks are probably about an inch thick at least.
Yep.
Sometimes our New Yorks are maybe about 1.5 inches. 1.25 inches.
And that's just the cut for New York.
That's just the cut.
Okay.
So I mean, those are our 3 main steaks and very, very popular. The other beef option that we have is our Kalbi beef ribs that you guys had as well.
That's pretty good.
So that's another good one too. Yeah.
Coconuts. You're on an island that is surrounded by coconut trees.
Right.
Do you do something with coconuts? Is that a flavour that you like to move with, or is it just becoming too accustomed by too many people?
No, I mean for us, one of our signature dishes is our coconut crème brûlée here at KPC. So we do coconut crème brûlée, and it's basically a coconut custard inside of a half shell of a real coconut.
Yeah, wow.
Like
Is that baked?
coconut.
Is that a bake, or is it a natural set?
It's actually, we bake it in a separate ramekin and we fill it into the coconut shell.
Yeah, okay.
And then basically we spread the sugar on it and torch it so it's crispy, and then let it cool, and then we plate it up. So, and actually the meat inside is super soft, so you can actually get the spoon later and then scoop it out after.
Scoop the coconut flesh out. See, that's the bomb. That sounds good. So that's using the local food here, the produce at its best. People come here, they can have something with bananas, they can have something with coconut, they can have the fresh produce from the farm, the land, and of course the sea. For sure. All right, mate. Well, that's fantastic. We're going to finish it up there. I've got to say a big thank you to Chef Dayne, aka Chef Buddha. I don't know what do they call you, Chef Buddha?
Just because I guess I used to look like a Buddha. I mean, I used to be a little bit heavier, I guess, in size. And this is probably like a year ago, so I used to be about 245, 247, I think.
Okay.
So me and my wife went on a diet. We both dropped like 30-something pounds. I dropped, I think, like 43 at the most. So,
wow, that's a lot of weight gone down.
Yeah, so
good on you, mate.
Everybody used to say like, "Oh, we can't call you Buddha no more." I was like, "Nah, it's not going to change now." So
Because when we went to Oahu, we spoke to a couple of the chefs over there at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, and they were very fond of you, and instantly they spoke very highly of you. So that's a good thing. It's nice to have that repertoire amongst different family and friends across all of the islands.
Yep, for sure. Chef Joe at the Hilton Waikoloa Village used to work with me as the banquet chef here. So we worked real close together and did a lot of projects and events together. Yeah. So we bounced back off of each other and kind of feeded our vibes off of each other. We pushed each other, to develop and get creative and stuff like that. But then he ended up leaving. But yeah, so Chef Brooke, the exec sous at Hilton Hawaiian, I've known him for several years when I've done task force at Hilton Hawaiian. We did Sun Life Financial, I believe, was like 3,000 people, so I got called over to help with that. And then Chef Ricky, I've gone to school with him, culinary school on Oahu with him, so I've known him for a while as well too. So it's good to reconnect that he's back, in the scene with us, with the Hilton. But it's good to have, those guys there. So whenever we need things, we can always bounce back in each other, and whenever we get together, it's always a good time. So
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks very much for that. Of course, Chef Dayne, aka Chef Buddha. I'd like to say to everyone, thank you very much for listening up to another podcast here. Step Outside with Paul Burt. We'll be back a little bit later, of course, with more podcasts. Ciao.
Well, that's the drop of this week's Step Outside podcast. See you next week as we chat to more colourful characters the world has to offer. And remember, you can catch up on the last 2 seasons of the Step Outside with Paul Burt television show on the 7 Plus website. Take it easy and catch you next week.